podcast. My name is Tyler Kluver, and I'm a former Division I athlete turned entrepreneur. I run my own fitness and nutrition coaching business, as well as a sports media brand that produces podcasts, sells merchandise, and creates exclusive paid content. The fun part is I don't really know what I'm doing as a business owner. I'm just figuring it out day by day. This show, Snapped, acts as an audio journal for my thoughts and ideas on fitness, health, business, mindset, and whatever else I find important on the pursuit to personal happiness and a balanced life. I hope you can take something from the show that makes your life a little bit better. And regardless, I'm just happy you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. Let's have a day. Welcome back to the Snap Podcast. We missed last week's episode because I was busy. We'll talk about that in a second, but I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that we've had, every time I miss an episode, unfortunately, we haven't missed one in a long time until last week. We always get a couple people that are like, hey, where's the Snapped at? And that makes me feel good because, I get 250 to 300 people that listen to this show. I have no idea how many of that number are people who I'd have to imagine a large percent of them are those who found this adjacently through first finding the walk-ons or me on social media. I really, really appreciate everyone who comes and listens to this show. I think it's an easy listen. I hope that I'm an easy listen. I know that a lot of times, and not because I want to be or because I think it's the best way to do things, but it's just my natural sort of tone, it can get lectury. I sound very lectury. I don't want to sound like that. I would rather, I want to sound like I'm having an open conversation with the potential listener and like I'm just kind of sorting through thoughts. I don't want to sound lectury, but I know I have that natural tone to me, so I'm trying to work on it. I say that because there may be some of you new here because I ended up posting. Somebody asked in the Discord of the walk-ons uh, community if I could add like a weekly, fitness segment to the offerings of the Washed Up Walk-ons, and they weren't aware of this podcast. So I was like, well, in fact, I actually do a podcast, a solo pod called Snapped. Been doing it for a couple years. If you're interested, it's mostly fitness related. So welcome in. So maybe there's a couple new listeners here. Cade wanted me. Cade, big fan of the show. Big fan of the walk-ons. One of our biggest contributors. Just a guy. Just a bro from over there in Iowa City right now. Asked if we could potentially do some Mr. Olympia or just Olympia talk today. I don't think, I don't think I have a lot to say on that. I don't really follow bodybuilding too much. I'm obviously immersed into the CrossFit world. I could tell you everything about CrossFit. I mean, damn near everything. I couldn't tell you much about bodybuilding. I know that I'm familiar enough, like maybe a little bit more than your average guy because I'm in the fitness space. So, I know who Phil Heath and what was his name? Dexter Jackson, I think was his name. And obviously Jay Cutler, going all the way back to Ronnie Coleman. I know all the names, right? But I don't follow them. I know who Chris Bumstead is. Chris Bumstead won again. If you guys are unfamiliar, maybe the recommendation of the week is to go and look at Chris Bumstead's photos from this past weekend. He's sort of on top of the bodybuilding world right now. One of the most popular guys in the space. Good for him for winning again. He looks incredible. I wish I looked like Chris Bumstead. But I have a feeling if I looked like Chris Bumstead, I wouldn't perform nearly as well. I would put me, other than just some pure 1-rep max strength tests that Chris would probably smoke me in most things, anything fitness related, I would wipe the floor with that guy, and that's just because that's my current pursuit. It's hard for me to be interested in the bodybuilding side of things, although I do think I'm coming to the conclusion in my own fitness journey at 29 years old here. I'm pretty sure that even if it's 1%, the smallest extent, it doesn't actually play any sort of real role in your life. I think every single human has some form. I wouldn't even go as far to say it or call it body dysmorphia, but body image concern. I like to think of myself as somebody who is pretty solid, like pretty secure in how I think about my body, what I look like, how I feel, all those things. But even I, like, to the extent of like I feel very tied up there. Like I know exactly more than 99% of people how to make myself look a certain way. So I really should never be worried about how I look because it's all about my input. I have full control over it. I think people often worry about the way they look and get self-conscious or in their head about that. I think a large part of that is due to the fact that they don't know how to change it, right? We get concerned or worried or caught up in certain things a lot in life because we don't have the tools or know what tools there are to change our position, change our circumstance. That is something that is worrisome. If you are, and if you're new here, this is just how we ramble. We just go off on random tangents and thoughts. If you're broke, you have $0 in the bank account and you don't know how to fix that, that's scary. That's scary. It's different if, you know, you're someone who knows how to make money and, say in this hypothetical, totally not real situation, somehow someone hacks your bank account and you go down to $0. You're definitely going to be pissed about that, but you're not going to be as worried, not nearly as worried or concerned or stressed as someone who doesn't know how to get out of that situation. If you have skills and tools that you know how to use to earn an income, to make money, you then you can see the path forward. It's similar with body stuff. A lot of people, and it's super unfortunate. It pisses me off. It seems like something that should be so common knowledge. And sure, I'm biased because I'm in the space, but it seems like something that should be so common knowledge that one of the most important things in our life individually for each and every single one of us is the meat sack that we carry around, that we carry our conscious around in. We essentially are uh, intelligence put into a this vehicle, which is your body. Why would we not put at the forefront of our existence taking care of that vehicle and making sure that it's running and going to run well for a really long time? I don't know. I don't know. But most people don't know how to do it. They don't know how to fuel the vehicle. They don't know how to change the parts on the vehicle. They don't know how to do anything. And this is how we end up with people who are then halfway through their life, 40, years old, 40, 50 years old, and they're like, fuck, things are starting to break down and I might be too far gone. I don't this thing might be totaled, to go with the vehicle analogy. I don't know. But I think everybody has this comes all the way back around to body image. The Olympia is like the height of like body image, um not concern, but like attention. right? The sport is literally based on who looks the best, like who's the biggest, who has the best muscles, who's the leanest, all this stuff. And I think it's really unhealthy. Like I don't think it's a healthy sport. Not that all sports are supposed to be healthy or meant to be healthy, but um yeah, I don't love I do there is there is an alien like quality to these guys and girls who just pump themselves full of all the steroids and work out for a living, and you see what is capable, like you see what we're capable of as humans of turning into physically, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, like that is you stare at it like a car crash. But it's almost too much to me. So to Cade, there's your Olympia talk, your body image talk. I think it's cool what they do. It's extremely hard. The people who do it are unbelievably disciplined. They go through some crazy physical and mental um, struggle to maintain and do that shit. It's not for me. And in a similar vein, they probably sit there and go, I don't know how you could push yourself that hard to be that good at CrossFit or to be that good of a football player, like all these things. So everybody has their own perspective. The reason, let's get quickly into the reason that we were gone last week, of which isn't some big, huge topic, but just wanted to talk about it because, as I mentioned in the intro, this is just an audio journal of my life. And for some reason, you're listening. Last week, I didn't even think about the Snapped podcast until it was Thursday. It's like, oh shit, I totally didn't do the pod this week. I got the opportunity to attend, excuse me, I got the opportunity to attend high school state volleyball, which is held in Extreme Arena in Coralville, Iowa. Top 8 teams from the 5 classes of Iowa volleyball all make it to state, similar to, actually, I think in the Dome for football, only the top 4. Yeah, only the top 4 teams make it to the Dome. So state volleyball went from Monday through Thursday of last week, and it was really, really cool. Reason that I'm involved in that at all is my wife started coaching freshman volleyball for the Waukee Northwest Wolves. I know I say the word Wolves wrong. About 4 years ago. This is her 4th year. And so funny enough, the senior class of spoiler alert, the state champion Northwest Wolves was her first class. So the girls that she had her first year when they came in as freshmen at Waukee Northwest, they just won a state championship. And really, really tight-knit group of girls. They've been playing club volleyball. They all played together. They have a bunch of them. They were deep in the senior class. They had like 6 or 7 seniors who were all really talented, as far as high school volleyball goes. And so Monday they played in the first round. They beat Cedar Falls like 3-1. Not too challenging of a game. Then they were up against it. They were the 3 seed, and played the 2 seed Ankeny Centennial, who had beat them multiple times throughout the year. Ended up going to a 5-set thriller on Wednesday. It's a 2-hour drive from Waukee all the way out here in Waukee to Coralville. So that's 4 hours of drive time. I have to drop off baby girl at daycare at 7, pick her up at 3:30. So that's only 8.5 hours of time. You add in the 4 hours of driving and the 2 hours of, a little over 2 hours of game time, and there's not a whole lot of other time to get shit done during the day. So podcast didn't happen. Very, very cool. I've gotten into volleyball so much since I've moved in with my wife, fiance at the time when I moved in, now wife. Um, she not only coaches the Waukee Northwest, was the freshman, moved up to JV coach this year, moving up the ranks. Um, but she also has dabbled in coaching club volleyball for, I don't know, the past 6 or 7 years, even before she started with the high school. Um, and I always watched her play volleyball, was always a fan of going to their games and watching them play. Never understood the game at a deeper level, anywhere past, your most common average Joe fan. Um, I've started to learn more and more about the game. I've gotten into Big Ten volleyball, where I was really bad. They're in fact the worst team in the Big Ten, but teams like Nebraska, Penn State, Minnesota, Purdue sometimes, um, who else? Wisconsin. They are the best of the best. Like they run the country in volleyball, and it's one of the most exciting games. Honest, like I'm dead ass serious. I would rather watch volleyball than for sure would rather watch volleyball than baseball. Probably would rather watch volleyball than basketball, and I would good volleyball, right? Equivalents of competition and quality of game. And I would rather watch a good volleyball game than most football games. Like dead ass. It is, and I'm probably in the minority, but it's one of the coolest fucking sports. It's the display of athleticism by these girls is insane. The strategy and gaming, the actual logistics of the game are really fun, and I just think it's a great game. And I've gotten fucking really into it, obviously, as you can hear me talk about it. And I mean, just it was awesome to go and watch the girls obviously for my wife. Like it was fucking great that my wife uh, and her team and her other coaches got to win a state championship. That's also something that a separate aside from the fact that I'm into volleyball now. I think that I personally hold winning a state championship or getting to state is so cherished by me. And I know it's not a big deal for some people. And I think at the lower classes, if you're a good athlete in the lower classes, you have a better chance to probably make state, or your team, if you've got a couple studs, has a better chance to make state, just because there's a little bit less saturated of talent. But like at Marshalltown, we got to make state, I think, once in my time, and that was it. We had our big, huge, like romance fucking fairy tale story in 2009 where we went um, undefeated and made a run all the way to the state championship. Um, and I got to, suit and dress and play some special teams on that 2009 team as a freshman, and we made it to the dome. And the Marshalltown hadn't made it to the Uni Dome to play in the state tournament since like 1992. It had been like 17 years at that point. Haven't made it even. I don't even know if they've made the playoffs since, let alone winning 2 or 3 games to make the dome, since I've graduated. And so it's just not something we did at Marshalltown. Basketball, Marshalltown used to be really good. In 2007 ish, I think we made the state tournament and made it to Wells Fargo, got beat in the first round, if I remember correctly. Never made it to the state tournament as a basketball team when I was there. Uh, Baseball, they've actually made it to state a couple times around our time and since then. But like, it's just not something we did in the two big sports, football, basketball. So I hold it to be really, really special. And obviously at Waukee Northwest, you're going to find yourself with a little bit more talent. There's a little bit more money in this town, a little bit more travel sports participation from an early age. So these girls, they're good. And they made a run. Went there Thursday, drove there and back, watched the game, came home, fucking recorded the Walk-Ons podcast Wednesday night, woke up, did the exact same thing on Thursday. They played in the championship at 10. They went to another 5-set thriller match against number 1 Dowling Catholic. So they beat number 2 and number 1 back-to-back days in 5-set matches, which is so hard to do, exhausting mentally, physically, emotionally. And it was awesome. It was awesome. So that's where I was. We're back into a schedule now. And I'll leave you with this, because last week I didn't get a ton of it. We were running around doing all that stuff. The last two nights, my wife and I have gone to bed at 8:45. I don't know the last time, on the weekends when you wake up and it's not to an alarm. Like, you wake up because your body was good on sleep. How fucking good does that feel? The best, I know. So I don't know why. We were just tired. There was nothing really entertaining to look at on my phone, whatever the case may be. But we did that Saturday, Sunday, like always, or I guess Friday night, Saturday night, like always. But then continued and did that Sunday night and last night, Monday night, Tuesday night. Monday, Tuesday night. And during the week, like 5 days in a row now, I've woken up just because my body was ready to wake up. I got enough sleep, which for me is evidently somewhere right around 8.5, 9 hours. I usually get like 7.5, probably 8, and I'm good. I feel good. Energy's good. But wow, what a difference it makes when your body actually tells you and determines, like, hey, no, we're good. Wake up. Like, hey, you're good for the day. It is unbelievable. So my recommendation for the week is, first, Chris Bumstead. Go look at him because he's an alien. And second, put the phone down, turn off the TV, turn off the Netflix at 8:45 tonight. See what happens. Just close your eyes. I know it's crazy, right? You're going to miss out on some TikTok that you're not even aware of what you're missing out on. You're going to, you can load the Twitter feed in the morning, turn it all off, 8:45 p.m., turn the lights off, put your head down on the pillow, close your eyes, and fall asleep. Just see how you feel in the morning. And then wake up and drink like 16, 20 ounces of water. You feel like a goddamn, like you're new, like you were just born again. It's amazing. So my recommendation is basically 8+ hours of sleep. It does wonders for you. But anyway, that's the update. That's where we were last week. Happy to be back. There's not a lot else going on. Training is about to take a slight ramp up after I've been sick, and it's been the off season of the CrossFit. So we'll talk about that maybe moving forward, but that's all I got. Hope everybody has a fantastic week, fantastic day, week, month. Talk to you next week. See you then.